Good evening. I would like to call to order the special meeting of the Newport News School Board for Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. On behalf of the members of the school board and the superintendent, I welcome each of you watching. Our quorum is present to transact the business of the school division. This evening, the school board held a closed meeting. At this time, we need to certify that meeting. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to certify of the closed session, whereas the school board of the city of Newport News has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas section 2.2-3712D of the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the school board that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Newport News School Board hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, 1, only public business matters lawfully exempt from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification applies, and 2, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion conveying the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered.
Is there a second?
This is Douglas Brown. I second the motion.
You've heard the motion and the second. Time for the question. There being none, Ms. Buffalo, please call the roll.
Maritza Alger, 4.
Douglas Brown, 4.
Mr. Harris,
Mr. Harris, 4.
Mr. Hunter,
Gary Hunter, 4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
Lisa Searles Law, 4.
Dr. Best,
Dr. Best, 4.
motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. The COVID-19 pandemic has had an unprecedented effect on all of us. With the closure of schools and businesses, our daily lives have changed. We are all adapting to this temporary new way of life, and the school board is as well. We are implementing new procedures for our meeting. This evening, we are holding an electronic meeting to transact the business of the school board. In doing so, we are practicing social distancing in cooperation with the governor's order. We are taking these steps to ensure the health and well-being of our staff, students, and the public. We would prefer to conduct our meetings face-to-face with the audience, but like so many of you, we are all understanding the importance of doing all that we can to flatten the curve of the coronavirus. Tonight, I am in the school administration building auditorium, and I am joined by Superintendent Dr. Parker, the Deputy City Attorney, the school board clerk, and 3 staff members. School board members are connected virtually, and the public will be able to see and hear them as we review and discuss school division business. The audience with individuals or public comment sections of our agenda has also temporarily changed. As advertised, citizens may submit comments via web form, email, or voicemail up to 30 minutes prior to the meeting time to be included in the official meeting records. All comments will be provided to all school board members. We are committed to conducting our meetings in an open manner, and we will make every effort to ensure public input. We value and appreciate your partnership. We will begin tonight's meeting with the pledge of the flag. Would you please stand and join me and recite the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Okay. Thank everyone. We will continue with our agenda. Number 2, consent agenda 2.01, personnel action. Dr. Parker.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. The board was provided a full listing of personnel actions, which included reappointments, reassignments, transfers in the board doc, in the board docs portion of your meeting for your review and consideration. At this time, I ask that the board consider the items that were placed in the consent agenda under personnel actions for approval.
Board members, we've all had an opportunity to review our packages. If there being done, can I get a motion to get approval of the consent agenda?
Marvin Harris, so moved.
It's Douglas Brown. I second the motion.
You heard the motion and the second. Time for the question. There being none, Ms. Buffalo, please call a roll.
Mrs. Alger,
4,
Mr. Brown,
Douglas Brown, 4.
Mr. Harris,
Marvin Harris, 4.
Mr. Hunter,
Gary Hunter, 4.
Mrs. Searles Law,
Lisa Searles Law, 4.
Dr. Best.
Terry Best, 4.
Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to pass it on over again to Dr. Parker.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'm very pleased tonight with board approval to acknowledge our appointments on June 2nd, 2020. These individuals will some are either coming new to our division or are some promotions from within, which we're glad to welcome those new leaders in their new positions. A full listing of all transfers and appointments will go out electronically following the board's vote to our entire staff, and also be updated in board docs and reflected in the minutes of this meeting. So more information will come. But right now, I'd like to introduce our appointments for this evening on the personnel agenda. And I will start by introducing Mr. Sean Holleran, the new principal at Kiln Creek Elementary. Mr. Holleran began his 23-year career as a special education teacher in Gloucester County Schools. He then served as a special education teacher, assistant principal, and principal in Hampton City Schools for many years. Mr. Holleran joined the Newport News team in 2017 as an assistant principal. This past year, he moved back from Atlanta from a temporary placement there, and returned to Newport News, spending time in both locations back in the classroom. His experiences have prepared him to take on the challenges of the principalship at Kiln Creek Elementary. We'd like to introduce Mr. Sean Holleran at this time, who should have joined us on the Zoom. Mr. Holleran,
Good evening.
Please introduce yourself.
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Parker and school board, for the opportunity to serve Newport News Public Schools students, staff, and families.
Thank you, Mr. Holleran. And it's the Newport News way normally, if you have family in the background, or to just give a shout out to any of your family members. When we bring you on board, we're bringing your family on board as well. So
I appreciate that. They are hiding downstairs, so that my wife Stacy and my son Mason support my move back into the principalship, and I appreciate the chance to do so in Newport News Public Schools.
Thank you. Looking forward to your leadership at Kiln Creek Elementary School. And second, I'd like to introduce one of our own, Karen Brown. Many of you may know Karen. She was the assistant principal at Riverside Elementary School. Ms. Brown has been appointed the new principal at Riverside Elementary School. Ms. Brown is currently, began her 16-year career in Suffolk City Public Schools as a paraprofessional and special educator. She came to Newport News 4 years ago as a response to intervention specialist, and then quickly moved up to the position of assistant principal. Ms. Brown has been very successful as an assistant principal and is excited to take on the new role as the principal of Riverside Elementary. So Karen, would you join us and introduce yourself?
Well, thank you, Dr. Parker and members of the school board. I am excited about the opportunity to provide an awesome educational experience to all students. And I am super excited about serving the Riverside staff and community. And so thank you again for this opportunity. And I'd like to thank my family as well.
All right. Well, please give them a hello for us if they're not in the background. And congratulations again. There we go. Hi, how's everybody doing? Uh, all right. And we're looking forward to your leadership, Ms. Brown.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce at this time Megan Allman. Sometimes when you're a good school division, you promote within and you get some of your aspiring leaders like Ms. Brown and now Ms. Allman, who's moving up from an assistant principal position in Newport News to a principal position. Ms. Allman was appointed as the new principal at Sanford Elementary School. Ms. Allman is currently serving as the assistant principal at Greenwood Elementary School. Ms. Allman spent time teaching in Roanoke City Schools, Hampton City Schools, and Newport News Public Schools. During Ms. Allman's 10-year career in education, she also held positions as a special education case manager, positive behavior supports and intervention coach, and assistant principal. Ms. Allman's strong instructional background makes her the right fit for Sanford's principalship. So Megan, why don't you join us and introduce yourself?
Good evening. Thank you, Dr. Parker and members of the school board. I am very excited about this opportunity and look forward to serving the Sanford community. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Megan. Do you have any family members joining you with you this evening?
No, they also are in hiding right now.
Well, congratulations to you, and we're looking forward to your leadership at Sanford Elementary School. I just want to put a note in that Megan impressed me with being a lifelong and continuous learner. And in her interview, she asked what training is going on this summer. She's ready to go. She's ready to go already. So thank you, Megan. Looking forward to your leadership.
Thank you very much.
I would like to also introduce, when you're a good school division, you bring some folks back and some folks may leave us, but if we treated them well, they come back to us and hopefully they've grown a little bit and are ready to take on bigger roles. And that is the case with our next appointment, Miss Elizabeth Galbraith, the new principal at General Stanford Elementary School. Ms. Galbraith began her 13-year career as a teacher in Fayetteville, North Carolina, before moving to Newport News and teaching with us for several years at Epps Elementary School. She's then spent 4 years as an assistant principal in Gloucester County Public Schools. So now that she's ready for the big seat, she is coming back to Newport News, and we are excited to have her. So Elizabeth, why don't you join us and introduce yourself as the new principal of General Stanford Elementary School?
All right, thank you, Dr. Parker, and greetings to the school board. I'm so blessed to be able to have an opportunity, as I told Dr. Parker, to come home. So I'm so excited to begin my principalship at General Stanford. I know that I have a wonderful staff ready to greet me. So once again, thank you so much for the opportunity, and I'm so excited.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And lives in Newport News, and is still a resident of Newport News and a member of our community. And this is truly a homecoming for her. So we look forward to your leadership at General Stanford Elementary School.
Yeah.
Our next appointee is assistant principal. Introduce Miss Heather Tuck, a new assistant principal at Riverside Elementary School. Now, Ms. Tuck comes with a variety of experiences. She has 19 years of experience as a teacher, assistant principal, and multiple senior level positions in central office. She worked in Alamance Burlington County system in North Carolina as a middle and high school teacher. In Mecklenburg County Public Schools, she held the positions of assistant principal, curriculum and instruction coordinator, director of student support and services and communications, and assistant superintendent of administration. She moved to Isle of Wight County in 2015 to become the assistant superintendent of instruction and director of CTE, Career Technical Education and Alternative Education. After leaving education briefly, Ms. Tuck is now returning to school leadership, and she has expressed an interest in starting at the building level. And we are fortunate to have her coming in to support the leadership as an assistant principal at Riverside Elementary. So at this time, Heather, why don't you join us and introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, thank you, Dr. Parker, and a special thanks to Richard Wright as well for reaching out and making this happen. And I'm so excited to be a part of the Newport News Public Schools and to be a part of Riverside Elementary. I love the little ones and can't wait to be back in the building to learn and grow and make this healing session for us all be even better.
Well, we are grateful to have you. And do you have any family members with you this evening?
I do. I have my partner here, Trey. And then my parents are quarantined in North Carolina, and that I want to say hello to them because they are streaming. So Kathy and Norman Seagroves, as well as the support of my daughter, Katie Tuck.
Well, thank you. We're looking forward to your leadership, and thank you for joining the Newport News team. Our next appointment is another assistant principal, internal hire, Mr. Dylan Fail, the new assistant principal at Carver Elementary School. Mr. Fail started his teaching career in Newport News and has served for 5 years as a classroom teacher and lead teacher at Hydenwood and Dutchrow Elementary Schools. It is important to Mr. Fail to be a continuous learner, and he has shared what he learned with others by facilitating professional development sessions for his school and his division. Mr. Fail is excited to continue his learning as the new assistant principal at Carver Elementary School. So Dylan, why don't you join us and introduce yourself?
Good evening, Dr. Parker. Thank you so much, and hello to all of the school board. I feel humbled and privileged to be accepting this role, and I'm excited to get to work with the staff at Carver Elementary. And again, thank you all so much for this opportunity.
Now, Dylan, there was a statement, there was a saying that they said you say to your students. Do you know what? Do you want to repeat that saying?
Oh, I'm not sure. What is it?
You won't fail in Mr. Fail's class. Is that
That's
true?
Right. That's right.
All right. So we're looking forward to your leadership, sir, and you have a wonderful administrative team there to work with, and looking forward to seeing your growth as an assistant principal. Our final appointment tonight is I'd like to introduce Mr. Michael Edwards, a new assistant principal at Dozier Middle School. Mr. Edwards has 5 years of experience in Newport News Public Schools as a coach, health and PE teacher, and lead teacher at Woodside High School. Mr. Edwards has infused technology and data tracking to drive academic achievement in his department. Making the jump to assistant principal will allow him to apply the skills he has learned as a teacher leader to the impactful role of administration at Dozier Middle School. So, Michael, if you're available, please introduce yourself this evening.
Yes, Dr. Parker, and school board, thank you so much for the opportunity.
They always jump in when you don't want them to. Continue, Michael.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity, Dr. Parker and the school board. Sorry, my dog's in the background, I'm going crazy. But I wanted to thank everybody at Woodside for helping me prepare for this role, and I'm excited for the opportunity to be at Dozier Middle School. And I want to thank my wife. She's trying to control the dogs now, but she's been a great support for me as I've made this jump. So thank you again.
Well, Michael, it's always a pleasure to see a teacher in our division move up to an administrative role. I always say that the most important thing a teacher can do is be a good teacher first, and then move into the administrative ranks. So you have done just that. So we're looking forward to your leadership at Dozier Middle School. Looking to hear great things from you, and please tell your wife hello for us as well. And have a good evening. So, Mr. Chairman, those are our appointments for this evening, and we again a complete list of all transfers and other reassignments will be sent out electronically to the school division, and also the community will have that information made available as well. I'd like to, for those transfers and appointments, I'd like to also congratulate you on your new opportunities and your opportunity for the fresh start that you're going to have with the next school year. We're looking forward to your growth as well. Newport News proud. We have a lot of good people to work with our children, and we're very fortunate. And that concludes my appointments for the evening, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Dr. Parker. Again, of all of our school board members would unmute themselves and give again, congratulate all those new appointments. We're excited. Look forward to great things happening here in Newport News Public Schools. So at that point, I'm sorry. I'll give school board members, if anyone wants to make a comment on the appointments. If not, we will move on for some comments by our superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the opportunity to make some brief remarks tonight based on the, since we do have a lot of our educators online tonight and members of our community, I just wanted to take this opportunity in light of recent events to make a public statement to, as a division leader and as a lifelong, not only a resident of Virginia, but also a former military officer and who served this country. As leaders and educators, I'd like to take a moment to speak directly to the staff and our adult community regarding recent unfortunate events related to the untimely and unfortunate death of Mr. George Floyd. I had the fortune of hearing our governor speak today regarding issues of systemic racism in our country and the degree of resolve necessary to address it. I would offer this humble advice to everyone listening this evening and say that our first step as an organization and as a community is to acknowledge that systemic racism is a problem both nationally and in the Commonwealth. This does not mean that we should make broad statements regarding Black or white citizens. There truly are good and decent people of every race and religion. This issue is a plague on our society and one that we as adults, leaders, parents, and educators should not pass on onto future members of society. We cannot let this be our legacy. Therefore, I choose tonight to stand with the many individuals who will no longer remain silent when we have these kinds of incidents. I ask that we educators educate our children to not just understand the world that they live in, but also how they may change it. Please join me to choose not to be silent. I believe that every voice matters in these matters, and you can choose your forum and how to advocate for a better America and a better society for our children and your children. So thank you this evening. I just wanted to make that comment that I cannot remain silent any longer regarding incidents like this, and I encourage our staff to educate our children and continue to have conversations within their circles of influence to ensure that we're making the changes necessary in our society. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Unless we have some comments, maybe Dr. Best, I believe that you have a comment that you wanted to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And I concur with Dr. Parker's comments as well. And we have a ritual with my daughters where we watch the news every night. We actually watch the 11 o'clock news because we're kind of night owls. But the reason why I do that with my girls is because I want them to see some of the things that are happening in the world. And as a parent, I want to be able to have an opportunity to comment and to share some of my thoughts and to make an impression upon them as to how we as individuals can make the world a better place as well. So I encourage all of the families out there to do the same with your students, because you should be their first teachers and you should be able to answer those hard questions for them in the manner that you feel is right for your family. And I also would just like to extend condolences. We did actually have a student that is deceased, and I would like to extend condolences to the Martinez family and just pray for all of our students in Newport News and just young people in Virginia and across the country. Everyone, just keep yourself safe, make safe choices, and just love a little more on everyone. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Everyone have a good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Best. If there's no other comments from our school board members, again, Dr. Parker, we look forward to the new appointments and all the promotions. And again, be safe out there. If you do go out and protest, please remember to wear your mask and practice social distancing. Again, have a safe evening, and we love you all. I will adjourn this meeting if there's no other comments. None, the meeting is adjourned. Have a good evening.